Welcome back to the Many Toys Of, the show in which we go over the action figure history of various Transformers characters. And this time around, it's time to talk about our most beloved battle cruisers, and one of the most fantastic toys to ever come out of Transformers Armada, Tidalwave. Before we begin, a big thank you to Bloodstreak 2001, Transformers Tie Stop Motion, It's Charlie Young, and an especially big thank you to Destalia2245. Destalia has been going to bat for Tidalwave for a few months now, and I can see why. He's kind of a big deal. Now, how would I describe Tidalwave? Well, this might be a good time to bring up the fact that in Japan, this is Shockwave. In Takara markets, this is the Legends Micron Shockwave. And yes, you can see the coloration in the cartoon. The purple definitely explains a very tenuous connection to Shockwave, but really, it's the loyalty to Megatron that connects him to Shockwave's dynasty. This is a Shockwave that forewent intelligence. No personal ambition, no grand designs, no logic or any type of rationale to anything he does. He is entirely a servant to Megatron. That one overwhelming aspect of his personality now being this Shockwave's entire being. Tidalwave can't even say anything that isn't his own name a lot of the time. He's not an intelligent bot, but he does have some sense of individuality. He's clearly cognizant, and he has dedicated every part of his being, every ounce of intelligence he might possibly have, towards being a better gun for Megatron. He is not a valued lieutenant, he is not a powerful underling. In Megatron's eyes, Tidalwave is armor, something that he can call upon at any second, the same way Megatron looks at the minicons. But Tidalwave seemingly loves that. He adores the idea that he is his master's greatest weapon, one that could be at beck and call at any instant. Tidalwave's first toy came out in 2003, in the first Unicron Battles branded Armada packaging. And I just have to say, this toy is absolutely spectacular. When you first look at him, you might notice that he is not at all animation accurate in terms of his colors. If anything, he looks more like Devastator. And that's because at the time, Hasbro had issues with releasing too many similar looking toys. That included too many toys using the same color. They felt that there were too many purple and gray toys on the market at that time, so they changed the deco of Tidalwave. Even taking this toy in a vacuum, I think this is a better look overall. He looks more industrial. In all honesty, he looks gross, dirty, filthy. A wonderful look for a massive structure of a Decepticon. His robot mode is incredibly powerful looking. Massive shoulders, good lanky limbs. He's so pitch perfect for a monster bot. And when you transform him, he is a very impressive starcraft. His wings and overall heft make this believable as some type of star cruiser. But what's even better is that if you divide this big ship up, you get an Armada, the Dark Fleet of Tidalwave. 3 separate ships, a pontoon boat that can shoot missiles, an aircraft carrier that has an elevator and a holding space for Ramjet, Tidalwave's minicon, as well as a landing craft. A landing craft that comes with individual seats for minicons to sit in. This is an amazing toy. One of the single greatest Transformers of all time. Is his articulation the best? No. But he is dripping with gimmicks, playability, and sheer bang for buck. That same year, you could have gone to Takara markets and gotten their version of Shockwave. The same toy, but using gray, orange, and purple, so still not accurate to the cartoon, but this is rather interesting and a nice looking toy overall. I just gotta say, I prefer the green. Towards the end of 2003, there would be yet another use of the Armada Tidalwave mold, with Energon Tidalwave. This is the same exact toy, but using an amazing new deco. Gray, white, translucent green. It makes him look supercharged. In a very weird way, this is almost a regal Tidalwave. If you were to tell me this was the design of one of the 13 primes, I could buy it. There's something majestic to all these colors together. Now, in the cartoon, Tidalwave was still that same idiot we all knew and loved, but this toy was possibly the best the mold ever looked. Going into 2004, Takara's Superlink Shockwave would add silver to the forehead, making him more show accurate. It was towards the end of 2004 that we would get one of our most unique versions of Tidalwave ever in the Mega Class Mirage. You see, as Energon went on, many of the original Decepticons would get new bodies, if not outright new identities. Tidalwave was reborn as Mirage. Instead of being a dark fleet, now he was just a single heavily armed speedboat. And in robot mode, instead of his usual bulky proportions, he was now a far sharper, more angular robot, almost looking like something more out of Gundam than Transformers. I love how the kibble looks here. It reminds me of Cybershark. However, he has a great deal of issues standing. You see, he's very top-heavy. Almost all of his bulk is in his back, which means that his knees give out over time. You actually probably need to shift that kibble around just to give him a wider standing base. You need to tripod Mirage, or otherwise, he's just not going to be able to stand up for very long. In 2007, we saw name dumping at its finest. You see, if you went to BotCon and got the Games of Deception multi-pack, you would get your very own Bug Bite. Now you see that little jetpack that Bug Bite has, the one that turns into a jet ski? As it turns out, that thing's called Tidalwave. Now we have a couple more Tidalwaves to go over on the official front, but before we get into that, why don't we take a brief stop right here and talk about our sole third-party Tidalwave. Fans Hobby have released their version of Tidalwave, and it is an incredible toy. It's a good bit smaller than our recent Titan-class Tidalwave, but it's also far more animation accurate. They've thinned Tidalwave down, made him smaller, but still larger than most leader-class toys, and I do really love this guy. I don't think he's anywhere near as impressive as the proper official Tidalwaves, just in terms of the bulk and size of it, but I am enamored with it, and if they ever do toy colors, I will be more than happy to pick this Tidalwave up. Popping into 2017, you could have gotten the Titans Return Tidalwave out of the Siege of Cybertron box set. This Tidalwave is a remold of Broadside, and even though that seems a bit odd, it kinda works for Tidalwave. Due to having a space cruiser mode and also the Dark Fleet, there's a lot of vehicle shapes that have been associated with Tidalwave over the years, so both the jet mode and the aircraft carrier mode really work for him. That brings us to 2024 and the Legacy Armada Universe Tidalwave. In robot mode, he's perfect, incredibly well articulated, and I would argue he is the most animation accurate Tidalwave, at least according to some episodes of Armada. I especially love his head sculpt, looking more like a proper Greek god than anything else. When he transforms, his Star Cruiser mode is perfect. Absolutely what I'd want to see. I am sad that you can't go straight to the Dark Fleet anymore. That was in service of giving us a better robot mode, but I kinda liked how the Dark Fleet could go straight back and forth. And even though the base mode is nice, I do enjoy it. I think it's one of the better base modes we've ever had. I am always curious, would we have been able to get a proper Dark Fleet straight to robot if we didn't have to worry about that base? And that's it. Tidalwave, to me, is a legacy of great playing toys. Not always the most stable of toys, not always the most articulated. Every Tidalwave that's ever come out has had one or two major glaring flaws. But that's the beauty of Tidalwave. He is simple. As a character, he's simple. As a toy, he's simple. His gimmicks are simple. The reason to buy him is simple. He's big. He's big and beautiful and pure and just a total delight. You're never going to be amazed at the depth of Tidalwave as a character. You're never going to be talking of Tidalwave toys as being a pinnacle of engineering that no one can ever come across again, but you will be talking about how fun Tidalwave was as a toy. You will talk about how that original Tidalwave is loaded down with gimmicks. You will talk about the beautiful design of Energon Mirage. You will talk about the triple changing of the Titan's Return Tidalwave. You will talk about that Fans Hobby Tidalwave and how much articulation it has in its good, lanky proportions. You'll even talk about that Legacy Tidalwave and the fact that it puts so many Titan-class figures to shame while still looking pitch perfect. But guys, I'll ask you, which was your favorite Tidalwave, and is there a Tidalwave you're trying to track down right now? Now, I know we have a lot of characters to talk about, but we're going to talk about each and every one of them before too much longer. You have my word. Funnily enough, next Friday is Valentine's Day. And since we're going to be talking about great romantics, why don't we talk about the single biggest lover boy in all of Transformers? Next week is going to be the mini toys of Beast Wars Silverbolt. Until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see what we get up to next time.